What is up, YouTube? This is Fireface Backhouse here with my Chapter 814 review, and man, it was a good chapter. It was really good. You know, we started off with the Zoe flashback ending, with Brooke singing, but then it went into the flashback again with Brooke Chopper and Nami telling Nekomushi that, you know, Sanji wasn't kidnapped. You know, he chose to go. After asking if Capone did kidnap Caesar and Sanji, and Kara didn't want to keep going on, Nekomushi says just to drop it already, that their friends are not trying to be rude by saying it out loud. Catches drift. Luffy's just sitting there reading Sanji's note very intently and all shocked like, and says, "Okay guys, Sanji said there's this chick he has to meet. Does that mean he's getting married?" Nami, perhaps not. He had to resign resolution when he said it. Luffy says, "Oh, okay, so he's gonna bring his wife back, and that means we're gonna have another member on the crew. Yeah." Brooke tells Luffy if Sanji marries Big Mom that they will become her underlings. Luffy says no way. Brooke says he's sure Sanji felt the same way, that he was adamant how he felt against the idea. Plus, he also did state in the last chapter that Luffy will be the man that becomes Pirate King. He's the third Straw Hat member to say it, the first being Usopp and Alabasta, the second being Zoro on Thriller Bark with Kuma, and now Sanji. You know, crew keeps talking about how Sanji's cutting himself out. Luffy says, "What do you mean Sanji's gonna quit the crew? That's worse than being a part of Big Mom's crew." So he would rather be a part of Big Mom's crew than lose Sanji. Okay. Nami states the fact that Sanji wrote in his letter that he had no way, that Sanji, you know, he wrote the letter, he had no way out of it, you know, that he had to do it, or else, you know, if he could get out of it, what was the point of even writing the note, you know, like, you know. And when she's talking about it, Robin sits there, and, you know, she's thinking, you know, Vinsmoke family, you know, that sounds very familiar to me. You know, maybe she learned something about the Vinsmoke family while working with Dragon and the Revolutionary Army, because, you know, it was a big, and, you know, I think that's the last 3, maybe even 4 chapters where there's been a really cliffhanger ending, but Oda hasn't gone on a break this time. It's good. Yeah. But she probably learned about the Vinsmoke family and everything when she was with Dragon and the Revolutionary Army. You know, Nami apologizes to Luffy how they couldn't hold them off until he got there with the others. Robin states that they didn't really have a choice, it's not their fault. Chopper asks if we'll ever see him again. Joe says, then that's that. Zoro says he didn't even say thanks for everything, or even a sorry for all the trouble. Then he goes on to explain how the smile that Doflamingo was having Caesar make him on Punk Hazard was being made for Kaido. We destroyed the factory, made Doflamingo mad. Then we went to Dressrosa, destroyed the Smile factory there, because they destroyed the SAD factory, so that he could make the Smile. Yeah. And those were all for Kaido, and now Kaido is pissed. So just as Dofi was mad about the Smile factory, Kaido, who is Yonko, will be mad about the factory in Dressrosa. And just like Jack, who is one of his subordinates, who we don't even know, is he his right-hand man? Is he his vice captain? Or is he like his second or third in command? Just imagine what Kaido's crew would just look like. If you had Jack going all beast, having a billion-belly berry, and Kaido has somebody stronger than Jack underneath him. Just imagine. You know, and he's saying just like Jack, who is Kaido's subordinate, Kaido will hunt them down eventually and demand payback in cold blood. He then continues on saying that the only reason they even joined up with Trafalgar Law in the first place was to have assistance in the upcoming fight. Kinemo and his friends are also getting hunted down by them. We don't know the reason. Oda knows the reason. We're just not getting told yet. And sooner or later, we're going to have to fight him, and the curly brow crook idiot sticks his nose in another Yonko's business in Big Mom. And then Nami and Zoro fight over, hey, you know, it wasn't his fault. You know, it's not like he chose to put his nose in his business. And Luffy just says, alright, shut the fuck up. We're not going to get anywhere by just sitting here and arguing about it. Let's just go ask Sanji ourselves. You know, and then Usopp's like, you make it sound so easy. You know, and then, you know, Chopper's just like, well, you know, we do have a way in here, and, you know, it's Peckham's. You know, Peckham's will look behind, and I did have that theory that Peckham's will lead them to Whole Cake Island. You know, and then we get this awesome view. I have it on my phone. I don't know if, oh, come on. Look at it. You get like a big view of it all. Look at that. That is just dog. You know, and then you have them saying they're all there and everything, and it looks all big, and the whale spores in the tree is bigger than they thought. And then you see the two of the people that Luffy fought when he first got into Whale's Forest, and those two people were actually, like I noticed while I was reading the chapter, they were the two people that Luffy fought when he just went barging right into Whale's Forest. But, you know, they didn't know that it was him. And then you have Pedro up in a tree talking to him, thanking him for everything that they've done. That he's sorry that they attacked him, that they just got oversensitive about intruders just because of all Jack thing going down. And he's like, oh, no problem, it's okay. He's like, well, Beppo and the others, they're waiting to see it. He's like, fuck Law and Beppo and his crew. Talk later. I want to talk to Nekomamushi and Pekamamushi. You know, and you know, for a second there, I kind of thought maybe he would be his, you know, son or anything. It's still a possibility. I mean, it hasn't been confirmed or anything. But then you have it, you know, Peckham, you know, Pedro goes up to him, and he's saying, you mean Peckham's? You're in luck. He's still in the back. We haven't let anybody know about what happened. Sanji's a good guy. If there's anything we can do to help. Luffy. And then he tells that he's going to go check on Nekomamushi because he's having a bath and everything. And Chopper's all like, oh, let me guide you, you know, because, to Pedro and Luffy, I guess. I don't know. I think Pedro's going to go in, Chopper guides him, whatever. And then he's going all, look at that. Look at that. Chopper's got himself some fucking Wanda pussy. He's gonna get himself a little bit of mink. Look at that. Oh! And then it just goes, Nekomushi's just eating, you know, they're playing around with toy, you know, it's basically, once they get in there, it's the comedy, is, you know, him, you know, talking about everything, you know, for a few pages, you know, and then he lets them know that Peckham's is up. And they go in there and they start talking to him. And he's like, I dodged about half of those attacks. with my power, that beige bastard. I think it's Capone Beige? Beige? I think beige. And then, that was my bad. I take it, he's taking Sanji. Now there's no escaping that marriage. Luffy's like, well, that's what we wanted to talk to you about. Who arranged for his marriage? Well, that would be Mama. And the father of the Vinsmoke family, of course. You know, so everybody's theories about Big Mom possibly having something to do with it, it's still correct. I mean, even if, say, the Vinsmokes are connected to the government, if he's like, you know, it'll make it easier in the underground, you know, because then, you know, he could focus, you know, if he has like a high up marine job, Sanji's father, like, say he is one of the Gorosei, and, you know, that Gorosei family, anyway, I'm getting too far ahead, you know, and then, bam, you know, you have, he's an infamous man throughout the New World. Never heard of him? The Vinsmoke family, well, to put it simply, is a family of assassination. Assassination Vinsmoke. Dun, 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 dun. Look at that. Look at that. It doesn't say no break or anything, so there is going to be a chapter next week. Big chapter. You know? I mean, you had Luffy reading the note, saying, oh, is he just going to bring his wife back and we'll have a new member of our crew? You know, they reiterate the thing again that, you know, because Sanji's marrying into Big Mom's family, that we would technically be working for him. Luffy's like, rah, 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 rah. That's bullshit. Sanji can't leave the crew. That's even worse than having Big Mom, you know, work for the, you know, than working for Big Mom. What? You want to be the Pirate King? Wouldn't you not want to work with anybody over losing a crewmate? I mean, I know Sanji's been there with you since, like, I don't know, chapter 40 something, maybe 50, you know? Been there 700. Well, you can't say 700 because he messed the whole thing. Whatever, but, I mean, you could go on for stuff. I mean, does the Vinsmoke family still have, do they have connections to the government? You know, could they be related to the Gorosei? You know, like, maybe one of the Goroseis is a Vinsmoke, but Sanji's father could be that Gorosei's brother, and because that Gorosei is older and stronger, he was the one that would take that position, and if anything were to happen to him, you know, Sanji's father, you know, let's just call him Smokey Vinsmoke, I don't know, takes over for the Gorosei place. You know, we don't really know how the Gorosei worked, how they even came into effect, how old they are, you know, but anyway, that's it for my review of Chapter 814. Like my video if you liked it. You know, comment if there's anything that, you know, you can think of coming off of this. You know, I'm Firefist Backhouse signing off. Have a good day, and until next time, everybody, bye-bye.